Hello and welcome to the weekly news update from the Big Wobble, and what a week it's been. 250,000 people were asked to evacuate as Japan was sandwiched this week between a hurricane and a typhoon. Authorities in central Japan Thursday ordered tens of thousands to flee their homes after torrential rains flooded rivers and triggered landslides, with one person missing after a mudslide buried houses. This is a scale of downpour that we have not experienced before. Grave danger could be imminent, meteorologist Takua Deshimaru said at an emergency press conference this week. And Japan's torrential downpour has overwhelmed Fukushima's drainage pumps, sending hundreds of tons of contaminated water flowing into the Pacific. The continuous torrent of rainwater is complicating the already difficult situation in Fukushima, where, according to an operator of the Tokyo Electric Power TEPCO, the drainage pumps are not able to evacuate all the water that is pouring into the plant, becoming contaminated and damaging the surrounding environment.
The clouds of dust engulfed Cyprus, Lebanon, Israel, and Jordan. The sandstorm so vast in its sweep that it even disrupted the fighting in neighboring Syria. In Jordan, combined with searing heat, it forced many people indoors. And in Lebanon, hundreds were hospitalized with breathing problems, with at least 2 people reported killed.
The weather is so hard to face with the dust and humidity. I'm obliged to go out to work, but I am suffocating. I would have definitely stayed inside in the air-conditioned room if I had the choice.
But some of the most serious hardships were felt in Syria, where social media websites hosted scores of videos showing the veil of sand enveloping refugee camps and war-torn cities like Homs.
Tension mounting in the Middle East as Khamenei calls for destruction of Israel. Israel will not survive the next 25 years, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah al-Khamenei said Wednesday in a quote posted to Twitter by Khamenei's official account. Khamenei addresses Israel saying, "You will not see the next 25 years," and adds that the Jewish state will be hounded until it is destroyed. And Turkey's Demirtas warns leaders are heading towards civil war. And Russian troops are said to have joined combat in Syria, while Egypt sent troops and tanks to battle the Houthis in the Yemen, while Hezbollah slams ongoing US-Saudi crimes also in Yemen. Extreme storm and flooding batters eastern Sicily. The wave of bad weather that hit eastern Sicily this week has been felt even in Catania. Flooded roads, car trouble, people submerged by water up to the waist. A series of landslides is causing disruption to traffic. Is this the latest act of sabotage? Multiple explosions reported at the Phoenix Star Factory is the latest in a series of plant explosions around the globe.
At the Masjid al-Haram Mosque in Mecca. Authorities say at least 65 people were killed and more than 150 others are injured. Now, we want to bring you these pictures. This was the view just before the crane went down. Now, to give you some context for this mosque, the mosque surrounds Islam's holiest site, the Kaaba, where some 2 million people worship during the annual Hajj pilgrimage. These are pictures just coming into us here at CNN. I'm watching them with you at the same time for the first time. And you hear the sound and see the chaos. You can see worshippers scrambling in the aftermath of that crane collapse. That is the shot of the Masjid al-Haram there in Mecca.
Southern flank of the Butte Fire blowing up as down canyon winds start to move a sea of sparks and flame here. We're just a little east of San Andreas, where this fire is continuing its march further into the foothills. A CAL FIRE strike team forms up along the fire's leading edge. This is what waits for them in the hills above. Neighbors like Tim Brackett wait anxiously for new word.
We just wanted to come up and get pictures and what we could out of here.
What they are hearing now is no comfort.
Signs and wonders. It was as if somebody turned off the volcanoes. After a massive increase in volcanic activity this year, all activity stopped dead around the 26th of August. The sun activity also flatlines, and there's almost no major quakes either since the same period. On the very next day, this happens.
Mexico's Colima volcano has been spewing fresh plumes of smoke and hot ash in a series of small eruptions. It's the latest in a summer of activity. Colima has been active since July and covered local villages in ash, leading to evacuations.
And then this. Mount Aso, Japan's largest volcano, erupts. Just to add insult to injury. Maybe I should learn to keep my observations to myself from now on. A must-watch video for anyone searching for 9/11 truth. 9/11 Bombshell, Methodical Deception by Rebecca Roth sheds new light onto the 9/11 controversy. Former flight attendant turned researcher, truth-teller and author Rebecca Roth implies the US government, companies and Israel were all behind the attack. Signs and wonders, a double eclipse on September the 13th. On September the 13th, 2015, NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory, or SDO, kept up its constant watch on the Sun. Its view was photobombed, not once, but twice. Just as the Moon came into SDO's field of view on a path to cross the Sun, Earth entered the picture, blocking SDO's view completely. When SDO's orbit finally emerged from behind Earth, the Moon was just completing its journey across the Sun's face. And finally, tragedy unfolds at polygamist Sept. 8 dead and 5 missing after a flash flood washed away vehicles at the Utah-Arizona border. Most of the dead people are mothers and children who live in the community, are members of the Warren Jeffs polygamist sect known as the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Well, that's me for another week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.